Hello, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Show weekly podcast with me, Sam. By the way, back again for episode 12 of season 2, also known as episode 35 podcast. The PWR is back this week, and we'll be bringing you a bit of a bumper round 7 preview, talking to teams from a lot of the camps within the league. We're hearing from Saracens, Alex Tessier, and Marlie Packer ahead of the duel against Harlequins this weekend. We'll also be hearing from Leicester Tigers Canadian international Julia Omokhuale ahead of their game against Loughborough Lightning in the East Midlands Derby. From the Loughborough camp, we'll be hearing from Nathan Smith and the legend that is Alev Kelter, as she is potentially making her Lightning debut this weekend. We'll also be hearing from Exeter Chiefs Canadian international Alex Tessier after her World Rugby Player of the Year nomination. Ahead of their game against Sale Sharks, we'll be hearing from Eva Wood as she returns from a long-term injury. And finally, we'll be hearing from Trailfinders Alivia Leatherman, who recently come over to the league. A really interesting story of how she made the journey over to the PWR and the journey to Trailfinders. Sure to be a belter of an episode. Before you get into this one, make sure you check us out across all social media and also give us a like if you're listening to this on YouTube or on Spotify. Let's get into this one. A quick one for me. Obviously, you've touched on how important kind of Quins being up there is for the league, but just how big are these occasions for Saracens, kind of the duel being for the club, and just how important is it as an occasion?
Yeah, I think you can't underestimate these spectacles and the duels being fantastic. Last year was a cracking game. I think there was 4 or 5 points in it. Great crowd, and it's just it starts to establish itself on the sporting calendar and a sporting landscape. People talk about it in advance. It builds momentum. It gets bigger, and it just showcases how good our sport is. And to have that many eyes in the stadium and it to be on TV as well and still get that many eyes in the stadium is just fantastic. So I think all these kind of, promoted fixtures are real kind of flag bearers of standard. And we're very lucky that we've been up there for the last few years with the duel, the hard work that goes on behind the scenes to make it the theatre that it deserves to be. It's a huge day for the club, and I think it's one that just keeps building the momentum around the league and hopefully keeps building the momentum around that season.
One of the World Player of the Year nominees lining up in that Quinn side on the week, potentially lining up in that Quinn side on the weekend in Ellie, but obviously Ellie and Alex nominated for World Player of the Year. Just how special is that for you as an England captain to see two of your teammates nominated, and just how special are they as players?
Yeah, they're both immensely special, gifted, talented. You know, you, I could list off a load of positives about can we have two World Player of the Years this year, is my honest opinion, because look, I think they both thoroughly deserve it. I think the journey that Ellie's been on with the Olympics, the way she's played in the Red Roses shirt, and not also that what she's done for the game away from the pitch, the way she drives her lifestyle, but her drive away from the pitch for her 50-22, her photography, all of that kind of stuff just really encapsulates like what an amazing person but player she is. And then Alex Matthews, like I've been playing rugby with Alex Matthews for many years now. We won the 2014 World Cup together, and I don't think there's anyone more deserving than her to win it. If you look at the biggest games that the Red Roses have played this season, she's come out both times with man of the match when it was Six Nations decider in Bordeaux, whether it's, playing Canada in Canada for the WXV final. Um, I just think that just shows her consistency, her drive to be the best and to be consistently the best. And I think she thoroughly deserves it. And I'd be absolutely gutted if she doesn't win it because, she was nominated back 2 years ago and we actually got to Monaco together, which was a pretty epic night in itself. Um, but yeah, no, she's very deserving of it. They both are. So fingers crossed for both of them. Um, but yeah, I hope to see at least one of them win it. I think one of them definitely deserves it. Like, I love Ellie to bits, but yeah, Alex I think is very deserving. Whereas I think Ellie, she's got a lot more time to showcase what she's about in the next few years. Whereas I'm not saying Alex doesn't that. I'm not retiring her or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, I think she's just very deserving as well. And this is the second time she's also been nominated for it. And I think that in itself speaks volumes. Um, how many players do you know that have be nominated for a world award, which she has. So yeah, that's very special in itself.
So Julia, obviously back to PWR action this week and after a week off, just kind of how important and how nice is that week off to kind of get some rest and recovery in?
Yeah, I think especially with having, I think we had 3 games back to back, it's nice to kind of take a second, take a step back from rugby, get a little bit more connected with the community, and just kind of go into this week with the right mindset and like a fresh set of legs, to be honest.
Mhm. And obviously some promising signs from kind of that first block of fixtures. Obviously not the results you want, but it's kind of how much can you take from those first block of fixtures where the side was showing some promising things.
Yeah, so did you say Canada or Tigers?
And Tigers, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was like, I wasn't sure if you wanted me to talk about Canada Tigers.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
it was definitely promising. I think we can see moments of really good phases and really connectedness between the team. It's just a matter of executing and finishing those moments and converting them into tries.
Yeah. Just how much have you enjoyed this first block of fixtures? I think you've been talked up quite a lot in the press for your performances personally. So just how much are you enjoying it?
I think I try not to focus too much on the press side. It's honestly just been nice to be back with the team, reintegrated with the team, connected with the team, and just go out there every week and play 80 minutes of rugby. It's what I love to do. So that's been fun.
Obviously, it's you've kind of coming up to the end of your first year as a Tiger, joining in January. Just how much have you joined it so far, and how much have you enjoyed the club?
Yeah, I've loved it. I think this season, with the idea of all the internationals kind of being back for the whole season, has really helped us feel integrated into the team. I think last season there was a lot of in and out, which was a little hard with transitioning, but it's just been fantastic. All the girls have put in so much hard work in the preseason and in the games before the internationals came back. So to come back and add some value in any way has been amazing.
Just kind of how key is the PWR as a league for kind of yourself and your development, but also the development of Canadian rugby heading into a World Cup year?
Yeah, I think it's awesome to have the PWR. It's like a mutual beneficial relationship. I think if we didn't have this league to play in, for a lot of us Canadians, we wouldn't have high enough rugby to play over the year. So the fact that we have this league has just meant that we can hone our craft and get better and better. And I think it's also great for the PWR to be so welcoming to Canadians because any good rugby talent helps the league be even better and brings more attention to the league, which is what I think everyone wants in the end.
Mhm. Can you kind of see it when you head into a Canadian camp that you see the players playing in the PWR kind of stepped up another level? Obviously, there's some who've kind of not been here long, some have been here a long time. So can you see that kind of stepping up in a level?
Yeah, not even just stepping up in a level. I think something I've always said that kind of England and the PWR does so well is pushing the boundaries of the game, like doing those things that like you wouldn't necessarily do in a game, like holding someone in a ruck, right? Like that's not illegal, but unless you think to do it, you wouldn't necessarily do it. And there's benefits to doing stuff like that. So just the ability of how the girls who have played in the PWR can push that boundary to the next level and kind of test the limits of the game is a big thing I've noticed.
And just one last question on Canada. Obviously, Alex Tessier being nominated for World Player
Yeah.
of the Year. Just how massive is that for Canada, and just kind of what is Alex like as a player to play with?
Yeah, it's awesome to see her getting the recognition I think she truly deserves. She's a fantastic player, fantastic leader, someone I can look up to on the team, and I know that a lot of other girls look up to the team, and I'd say she's a quiet but confident leader. Like you look to her if you have a question, she'll easily answer it, but you just see how much care and commitment she's put into the sport and how much care and commitment she's put into the Canada team, and she's an example for all of us all.
And obviously, Loughborough on Saturday for Leicester. Just it's one of those traditional rivalries within the men's game. Obviously, Leicester and Northampton. But how much of that kind of talked about within the Tigers women's camp?
Yeah, so we know it's derby game, so I think there's a big emphasis on going out there and just giving it our all. I think it just adds more fire to the fuel, and we just want to go out there and show what we can do. And we haven't had an away game in a little bit, so it's a chance to go to someone else's territory and kind of put our stamp on it.
Mhm. And these kind of big occasions help you as a player. Obviously, every game in the PWR is quite massive, but just kind of a derby day. Doesn't get any bigger than that, does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't get any bigger than that. I think the idea of knowing that we've got our Leicester fans behind us and they're rooting for us and they're fully bought into this derby day just takes it up another level and gives us that extra little push.
And obviously, Franklin's back gardens have been quite a happy hunting ground for Leicester so far. Obviously, the two times you've gone there, you've got 2 wins, obviously in the PWR last season and in the Power Up. Just kind of how excited are you to look to extend that winning
I'm ex
streak?
I'm definitely excited. I'm excited for an away game. We seem to do better when we go over to their territory. So I'm excited to go back and kind of give it to them and show them what we can do and just keep building on the hard work we've been putting in.
And when you look at that Loughborough side, where do you kind of see their biggest threats? Obviously, they've got Canadian Chrissy, Skirfield out on the wing. Just where else do you see their threats?
Yeah, Chrissy on the wing, we know she's fast and she's got speed, but I think the back three have got a pretty good boot and we know that they can use it. And just, I think our biggest challenge for us is going to be controlling the game, controlling possession and controlling the contact. I think if we can do that, we can easily handle their forward pack and their backs. We just have to go out there and play a really, really good game of rugby.
And just finally, just how much could a win on Saturday kickstart your season, kind of heading into this next block of fixtures in such a short season?
I think a win would just kind of establish for us that this is what we've learned from phase 1 and the first block. This is what we've taken from it. And this is our hard work being shown by a win. So it would just give us that extra momentum that we'd want going into the second block and start us off on the right foot.
Perfect. Cheers, Julia. Thank you so much for chatting to us today and best of luck for the weekend.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. Have a great rest of your day.
Hi, Nathan. How are you? Just first of all, just how's that week off been? Kind of recuperate, rest, and kind of focus on the next block of fixtures.
Yeah, good. Everyone's come back in on Monday really refreshed. The week off probably happened at the wrong time for us. Essentially, obviously, we'd had a week off prior to the Exeter game, but anyway, it's good to, a lot of the international players haven't had much of a break, and also the players who've been in all pre-season. So it's just nice to get a bit of a refresh and then straight back at it on Monday. So yeah.
Just kind of how much reflection was done in that week off by kind of yourself and the coaching team on those first 6 games. Obviously, not completely where you want to be after those first 6 games. So just kind of what reflection was made from those games.
Essentially, it sounds like a broken record, but the first 2 games were just what they were, with the players available. But I think we've played pretty well in moments in, the Sale, the Quins, and the Exeter game. We had 11 entries into the Exeter 22 and didn't capitalise on the opportunities we created. 12 months prior to that, we'd got into the Exeter 22 once. So it's a case of we are certainly moving forward. Performance-wise, it's just points on the board probably isn't reflecting that at the moment.
Yeah, and obviously headed into Leicester on the weekend. A team that who's kind of got a very good record at Franklin's Gardens, looking at their first 2 games there. Just kind of how much is it being focused on making sure that doesn't happen again this weekend?
Well, just prepare the same way we do for any game. We 100% now probably appreciate the emotional energy Leicester Tigers are going to bring to the game, and we have to match and better that emotional energy. I think people almost write Tigers off, which is a little bit disrespectful. They've got Amy Cockayne at hooker. They've got Meg Jones at 13. They've got some big international players within that team. And sometimes we speak about us underachieving, which I've answered some questions about. But that Tigers team's pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we get any grief.
Yeah, and obviously we've got Alev Kelter speaking to us soon next. Just is she involved? Is she ready to be involved this weekend?
She is available for selection. We just got to see where she is physically. Obviously, we want her to play a part in the game. What that part in the game looks like at the moment, we're still working out. But yeah, that's a massive for her to be involved in the match day squads. It's a world class. It's a world-class player, so we're really excited to see what she can do in the PWR.
Yeah, just how much has she brought to training so far?
I think she's brought essentially the way the program works is I want to bring world-class players in to develop some of the younger players. Like, she's the perfect example of what I want to bring into Lightning when I sign a world-class player. She's very emotionally switched on to what a team needs. She's played in big games, so experience factor. She knows how to handle, a big game, in which Saturday is. And, professional behaviours are, I'd love, a Carmela Morale to adopt those or tweak the ones she's got already through watching Alev, because she's great to have in the environment. So we're really lucky to have her.
Just how much is the likes of Carmela learning off people like Alev? Obviously, Chris is in that back three now, teaching the young Bucks side. Just how much are these Bucks players learning from these international talents?
Oh, well, it's it'd be impossible not to. Like, I think Leah and Cam have probably got some of the best, mentor role models that you could have in the PWR. With Skaz. Skaz works very closely with Cam. Leah and Helena and Nelly work really closely together. So, like, it's gonna rub off on them. And, like, Leah and Cam are gonna be quality players. And this experience now of playing with these guys is just only, going to accelerate that. And when they do peak in years to come, it will because of moments that they're going through now and training with the world-class players that they are doing.
And just kind of shining in that the Loughborough uni results, obviously beating Hartpury last week, who were unbeaten heading into that. Just how much of a testament is that to kind of the work that these girls have been doing within that Power Up series in the start of the PWR?
Yeah, essentially, like, the pack's pretty much the Power Up pack, But, like, essentially that, score lines put to one side in the first two games for some really good performances. Like, I thought our pack performed extremely well in the PWR Power Up. Like, your Lucy Calladines, Becky Boyds, Kiwi Fitzpatrick's really put their hand up. Like, and they're going into probably a league they should be playing in. For the moment we're in at the moment, so, like, they should be playing in that league, but they are really excelling. Like, Becky Boyd was brilliant. Her physical dominance was clear to see that she'd been playing against adults and training with adults for a sustained period of time. I think essentially when I came in, it wasn't about just building a team, it's about building a program, because we need to be able to develop players, because essentially we all know there's not enough players to go around, so we need to create our own quality, and we've certainly done that. And a massive congratulations to Matt, who's leading that side of the stuff, but also Brad down at the college, who's doing an exceptional job. I think they're up there, top of the league with Hartpury and Exeter, so it's we're in the right places pathway wise. So that's it's really exciting for the future.
Alev, just thank you so much for chatting to us this morning. Just how excited are you to be potentially back making your second PWR debut?
Yeah, very excited. It's an honor to be on Lightning, and I think we have an amazing team, and it's we've been building. So this weekend's going to be a wonderful test for us, and an exciting one for sure.
Just kind of how important is the PWR for your kind of development as a rugby player? Obviously, you spent so much time in sevens and kind of you've been in the PWR when it was P15s with Saracens. So just how important is this league for your development?
I think, we have about 15 or 16, I think, and counting, still more Americans coming over to the league. It's the best in the world, and that's why we're here, is to build and grow. And we're excited to maybe one day create something like this in America, where we don't have to leave our homes, and give back and have the growth be just as big. But for right now, we all want to learn and grow and get ready for this World Cup prep, and so it's extremely important for our growth, for us to be here. And also, I have three other Americans on this team as well. So Baz, Treader, and Hallie, and so it's really nice to also get to have this experience with them, and also grow within our program for USA Rugby as well.
Yeah, we were speaking to Nathan just before about kind of how much the younger players in the Lightning side can learn from the likes of yourself and obviously Chrissy, Scars. Just how nice is that for you to kind of give back to those players right at the start of their careers?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I feel like I'm the one that's learning, and that the way that they see the field and the way that these even just our the Bucks players like Cam and the likes, like I feel like they are um, you know it's not like let's sit I'm giving to them. I feel like we're all one team, one unit, and there's things that we have that are like different X factors that we can give each other, and I think that's what it is a team. It's not everyone is at the exact same level. So I think that's what when I say like it's super important that we all like build each other up. That's what a team looks like. And so it's yesterday Skaz was leading some of the set piece moves, and for me it's just asking the principle of okay, why this move over this move, and her answers just like unlocked another level of yes, that makes 100%. That makes sense. Whereas when you're in a USA camp or you're in season with, things move so fast that it's hard to break it down. And so having that ability to be able to chat about it on the go in real time is going to create some really amazing rugby to see.
And is it nice to have Chrissy on your team after playing against her in sevens?
Yeah, we have such a, Canadians and the US have such a rivalry that but we know that, we've played each other so many times in the series, and it's just good to see her, on our team. She's a lethal weapon, and so quick, so fast, and it's really good to see her working in and out of the pockets of the wing. So yeah, it's she's a wonderful person off the pitch. So it's fun to see that rivalry come to an end, and again like build that family.
It's kind of how much have you seen of Leicester in these kind of opening block of fixtures? Obviously, they've got a few Canadians within that side. So, kind of, what have you seen from them, and kind of what do you see their threats are at the weekend?
We know they do a lot of like picking around the ruck, and so we've without going into too much detail, we really know their threats. Also, they have some speedsters and can play make. So to be honest, it's a triple threat. We have to be ready in every position. But we're very excited to have a crack and go this weekend. The biggest thing for us, I think, is to play our game, and we've been really working on it. Yesterday we went live for the most of the practice, and so we're ready to be physical and bring that presence, but also play our width in our wide game with our backs as well.
Mm-hmm. And Nathan kind of spoke about the emotional energy of the game. Obviously, Leicester's kind of the traditional derby within the men's game for Northampton. Obviously, Loughborough and Northampton have those links. And I just kind of how important are these kind of derby games and the big games for you and the club?
Yeah, it's extremely important, and it's one that you want to come on top of. But the biggest thing is that we can't focus on the outcome. We have to focus on the present moment every single minute, and we get a chance to do that and to refocus for 80 minutes. And that's what's really exciting is that it's not a 14-minute game, and that you have an opportunity to make mistakes, come back from those mistakes, and then the team that's most connected on that given day is gonna come out and prevail. And so you can prep all you want, but when that clock hits, we need to be, like you said, emotionally ready, but also physically ready and together. Because if you're one person is ready and the rest 14 aren't, so it makes sense that we need to all build together and do it together.
And just last one for me, Nathan also spoke about your ice hockey background and kind of how that brings a added step to rugby. So just kind of what do you think that background, you've got quite a broad background of sports, how do you think that kind of helps with your rugby and kind of the skills you bring to a rugby pitch?
Yeah, it helps a lot, I think, too. Like I have a lot of like the lower quads and the hamstrings, like being able to do lateral movement is so important in being evasive on the pitch, and maybe where someone would just drop their head and go through, you're seeing a different space, almost like a running back in American football. Like it's very much fluid. And so once you make those breaks, you're able to, step back in or look for the offloads or keep the ball alive because continuity is massive in this game. So I think it has helped a lot. And also I've played a pretty fair amount of high level soccer, football. And And so being able to have that lateral mobility combined with the ability to kick over the top or through or cross to our Chrissy to our wingers, it unlocks another level of being a triple threat.
Perfect. Cheers, Ella. Thank you. Best of luck for the weekend. So, just first of all, thanks so much for the chat to us today. Obviously, coming off the back of a week off in the PWR, it must have been quite nice to rest and reset after a long 6 weeks of games.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was much needed, I guess, for everyone. Like, it is hard and challenging to like play 6 weekend on the bounce. It's exciting, but it gets hard on the body for sure. So yeah, it was well deserved, I guess.
And just kind of how proud are you of those Chiefs performances in the first 6 games, obviously going unbeaten, beating Gloucester and Saracens as well. Just how proud are you of that performances?
I think it was huge. I think it's huge for us. Like I said, I think when we last spoke, it's a very good start for us. And then obviously Gloucester and Saracens are very good sides. So it was definitely a challenge, which we expected. And like, obviously very proud of the girls and the team to come with the win and those two big games. So definitely proud.
Obviously, heading up to Sale on Sunday, probably going to be quite cold as it is. I think, is it snowing in Exeter today?
It is. So we kind of have like a weird day. That's why like everything has been like shift today. So yeah, it is a snow day. I think we're only going to be able to do gym today because there's snow all over Sandy Park.
Yeah, I think those conditions probably help, well, getting used to the condition, what it's going to be like up in Manchester on Sunday, kind of cold
Sure.
Sale, kind of everybody's well known. Just kind of how do you prep for a game like Sale away?
It's always challenging to go to Sales. Like it is far away from us. And then like last year when we went up there, obviously our game got cancelled because it was so cold and the ground was frozen. So it's kind of like ironic, I guess, that like this week we get to train in these cold conditions. So like it's as if we're, I don't know, lucky or blessed by it. I don't know, to like train in those conditions to like prepare on the weekend. It's actually crazy to think that it just turned out good in some ways for us to prep in these conditions.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a 12 o'clock kickoff, and kind of how are you so far away? How does that affect your preparations for the game? Do you come up on Saturday or do you come up Sunday morning? Just kind of how does that affect your preparation?
Yeah, we definitely have to come up on the day before, obviously, just because it is far away. Even though if it was, I think, a 3 p.m. kickoff, I think we still come up the night before, just because I think that's too hard on the body to play the same day as we do, like what, a 5-6 hour, depends on traffic as well. So like at least when we minimize those stress factors, I think help us prep or be ready better for the match on the Sunday. So yeah.
And obviously, it's a bit of a weird one where you've had a week off, you play again this week, and then you have another week off with your actual bye week. Just kind of how does that affect how you can train for a couple of weeks? Because you're not going to be wanting to go all in for one fixture when you have another week off, does it?
Yes, I think we prep week by week. So like we're prepping for Sale this week, and then like not like obviously not really looking at the next week, but definitely I think it's gonna help us. Like we have like a proper sort of like a not a slowdown, but like a break to like prepare for the second part of the season, let's say, or like the next part of our season. So no, I think we still go week by week, and then I guess we'll train maybe we'll peak training next week, I guess, after we rest a little bit after Sale, obviously. But yeah.
You say you're going week on week. You must be a little bit of eyes kind of towards the back end of the season and those playoffs after the kind of successful start. Just kind of what would it mean for Chiefs to be back in a PWR final?
Oh, it definitely means a lot, and then we're after it. Like it's been a few years that we're after it, obviously, and then it didn't. We couldn't finish. We can finally finish on top. So like, obviously, it is special. So like, yes, I think we have to go like a game by game, week by week, in order to be in a good position for the final stages. And obviously like prep as best as we can, and build each week to like be able to finally win the final. So that's definitely a long-term goal, but I think we do need to take it game by game to like improve on ourselves and then be prepared for the biggest games at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. And just quickly look on Sale again. Obviously, quite a lot of their North American contingent for up there with the USA internationals players you're quite used to playing against. Just kind of where do you see their biggest threats at the weekend?
I think they're very exciting players, like you said. Like there's a lot of internationals. So far, I think the Italians have been creating a lot of opportunities for them. Like they're very exciting players to watch play, and like I like the way they see the game as well. So I think these are the biggest threat, I think. If we look at, well, obviously we've previewed them in the past few games, and they're 9, Stefan, and like obviously we're going in the centers are players that add dynamics in the game and add like flow to their attack. So like they're definitely like players to be aware of, and defend them and just try to shut down their I guess their dynamics, and they play the game.
Yeah, kind of how hard is it to defend against kind of the unpredictability of someone like Beatrice Dragoni? I think that there's a few players in the league like that. You think of like Meg Jones as well. Just how do you kind of prepare for the unpredictability of it?
It's hard. It's hard to defend like a player that are so unpredictable, but that's what I think makes the game beautiful. So they're a threat, like they're triple threats. Like you said, Meg Jones, same thing. Like if she sees a little bit of space, like over the top, she'll take it. So like these are the players that have an incredible vision. So it's you just have to like be ready for anything. Really, it's hard to like prepare because like they're not one dimensional. They could it all. They could pass, kick, and run. So you just have to be aware. I think that's the main thing. Be aware of that they could throw anything at you and then be on your best form.
And just kind of how exciting is this league to be playing, and obviously heading into a World Cup year, just how nice is it to, and how exciting is it for you, for your development as a player, to kind of be learning every week against the biggest names in world rugby?
Yeah, I think that's probably the ideal position to be in the sense that you play in probably the best women's league in the world, and it's in England. The World Cup's in England, and like you play alongside and against the best players in the world. So like not only you learn from them, but you learn like how they play, how you defend them, how do you find like your opportunities as a player. And I think it's definitely like one of the best preparation. I think that's why there's so many internationals now in the PWR looking to come play here, because like we said earlier, like we play almost every weekend, so like that's a lot of game time. And if I speak a bit more for the Canadian or North American, like we don't get the chance. We don't have a league, or we don't get the chance to play all year long because also the weather and stuff. So the fact that we get so much more game time now with the PWR is like it's an incredible like opportunity, and like we're super thankful for that league. So it's definitely, in my opinion, the best preparation that we could ask for and building up into the World Cup next year.
You mentioned kind of the Canadians and kind of how key it has been for them. Obviously, there's so many over here now. We spoke to Julia from Tigers earlier in the week, and she said just how you can kind of see the step up in standard. Is that something you kind of feel when you head back into the camp that you've seen these players been playing regularly? You can see that kind of step up.
Yeah, so like you see how you play, but like just the fact that we see more picture, we have more experience on the pitch, like because there's one thing to train every day, but it's another thing to better yourself as a rugby player with like having those game time experience, those minutes. So I think if I speak for the Canadian, I think it's been very valuable for us as a group, really, like having like people across the board, across the team that are just playing weekends in, weekends out. Like it's been good, like just to better ourselves as rugby players, not only as athletes,
And just finally, obviously, it's been quite a big week for you with the Player of the Year nomination from World Rugby. Just first of all, just kind of when did you find out about the nomination? Just kind of what's the feeling and emotions around that?
I guess I found out a few days, 3 weeks ago. It was quite crazy. I honestly didn't quite understand. My coach called me at first, and I was obviously surprised. I was surprised in some ways, like I didn't expect it. Like I'm also like not working into getting that nomination, if that makes sense. So like it was a very positive and exciting news, obviously. And it's been really incredible, like the support I've had from back home and the people around here. It's been really like heartwarming, I'd say, if I can say that. Super thankful to that, and like obviously like I think credit to my teammates and stuff that put me in those positions, that allowed me to succeed and be my best self. So yeah, very, very thankful.
Perfect. So Alex, thank you so much for chatting to us today. Best luck for the weekend, and congratulations on the nomination.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Just first of all, thanks so much for taking time to chat to us today. Just obviously making your comeback this weekend. Can you just kind of talk us through that injury timeline? I think it's been quite a long time, isn't it, since you've been on the pitch?
Yeah, so it's been a very, very long time. And I have to say, I'm probably a complete different player to how I was before. So to me, it's almost like a debut, like which is really exciting. Um, and I just feel like I'm obviously in a complete different place. And it's been, so basically to give the timeline, it's been probably, so I've been out since July 2023. So there was a while where I was struggling with foot pain for like a good few months, but I wasn't out. Like I was still going in and out of camps sort of thing and still training. And never, but I wasn't obviously 100%. And then that was the time from July where I was properly out. We knew what it was, treating it. And then, so I had a surgery, had it corrected, and then got back to running. And then it just refractured and I was really, really unlucky. Like in the same place. There was, yeah, it was really hard to be honest. Like for a long time, well, not for a long time, but for that period of time where I knew what had happened and that I'd have to go back to square one, do the exact same rehab. I was like, I can't do this. Like it's really, really hard, especially on top of uni and everything. But luckily, I was so well supported at Sharks that like they were like, right, we're going to find out why it happened again. Like we're going to support you all the way through. You will play for Sharks. Like you will play for Sharks again. Like it's not, you'll be fine. And now to be on the other side, like I've rehabbed it a second time, but being in a much better place. Like for example, I put on weight that I probably needed to put on, which has probably contributed to why I had a stress fracture in the first place. I've done is done uppers, so I've got quite a few uppers PBs, which is nice. So there's been a lot to take away from it, and it's almost, if I look back, I can look back at it as like a physical development period. And like I remember pestering all the way through, I was pestering my coaches like every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, like can we do literally 15-20 minutes of hands passing, like because I really want to work on like the aerial part of my game because I'm quite tall for a winger. So if I can use that to my advantage and really bring something, then yeah, so that's what I've been trying to work on while I've been injured. And then now it's like these few weeks putting it back together and then being able to like show it in training and like earn my place back in the squad. So yeah, it's been a tough journey. It's very unique. Like I mean, sometimes you can compare it. Comparison is the thief of joy is what I've learned. Like you can't compare it to any other injury because it is so unique. And that it's very much been my own journey. But yeah, I think if I wasn't at Sharks, then it would have been a lot more difficult. So yeah, that's it really. It's a very long story and complicated, but yeah.
When was your actual last game of rugby then? So would it have been the end of the
So
22-23 season?
yeah, I did not even that. So I didn't get a chance to play in the 23 season. Like I think it was the end of the 22 season. I played for uni because we initially thought it was a different injury. So I came back from that injury, but then it never fully went away. Like it did get better, but that unfortunately, like the nature of the bone that I broke, the navicular, that is the nature of the bone. Like it won't present really badly. It will present really similar to tendonitis. And I got treated for that, but it just never fully went away. So I was very unlucky. And like my surgeon even said to me, like, it is navicular stress fractures are a surgeon's worst nightmare. So I was like, that's great to hear. But anyway, he was like, it's not impossible, obviously, to come back. And hopefully I've proven that. So yeah.
I won't pretend I know what the navicular bone is.
You don't want to know. Pretend you don't. I didn't know. I wish I didn't know what it was. So yeah.
You mentioned kind of that support system at Sharks. Just kind of who's kind of been there for you and kind of who's got you through all this kind of such a long time out.
Yeah, to be fair, like to start off, like I think basically everyone, like it was really hard because I think because I was in a really dark place initially when I found out it happened again, and I was like, I was almost looking for a reason not to come back, but Sharks did not give me that reason at all. They gave me every reason to come back, and it helped so much for like my mental, my like determination. Like instantly it was sparked back up by just support. Like I remember so I was there at the appointment with Yaz, the physio. Yaz has been through everything with me. Like we've done it all together. And she was so good. And I remember Lizzie was actually there as well. Lizzie and her mum, Lizzie Duffy. And she was there and we went for a coffee afterwards. And it was that initial moment where I like instantly was so supported. And like I remember KDM called me, Tails called me, like we both had it, they both chatted to me and they were like, we will get you back in the Sharks shirt, like don't worry, basically, because I think the worst thing that I could have done in that instance was worry about my future. That was the last thing I needed to do. So yeah, and basically the girls as well, like we've got such a good support system. Like today when when the team was put in the group chat, like there were so many, like I got so many messages and I was in tears. Like I cried so much this morning. So that was such a nice moment. But yeah, I think it's just that like just a constant support. Like while I've been injured, like I'll turn up and be in the gym all night. But like we've got such a good group of girls that like everyone checks in on you, like, hi, how you doing? Like, how's your foot going? And like even the appraisals, like you're doing really well, that sort of thing. That's what you need to just keep going, get through it. So I think like I've been so lucky to have support from every aspect of the club. And like they've got me into coaching and that sort of thing, and like which has meant that kept that like rugby stimulation while I've been injured. So literally no reason to not have a go, like, and get back. So yeah, and get back in such a good position. Like I can't believe I'm back, but I'm so excited. So yeah.
Yeah, you obviously being involved kind of around match day as well. We've seen you kind of down at Hayward Road helping out. Just how kind of
Yeah.
key is that to kind of still being feeling involved, that you still feel involved in the club?
Yeah, like it is so important. Like it's meant that I've got to know literally everyone in every corner of the club, like men's and women's every match day, which has been really nice. And it builds that support system again. And like people get to know you and like they'll ask how my injury's going, that sort of thing. And then it makes me like still really excited to come back, and like especially at our match days, for me to still be able to support the girls, even though I'm not on the training pitch, but I can support in the way of running the match days or like being there and supporting like on the sidelines. Like I really like that, and I find that's really special. And it's meant that it's kept that like drive to get back on pitch for me, being able to see it constantly. Because I easily could have gone like, I don't want to watch it, like, and being really upset about what's happened, but that wasn't going to get me anywhere. So the biggest thing was to keep going, like, and yeah, just to keep going really. And I'm thank myself that I did do that now, because I'm in a decent position now. So yeah.
You mentioned the emotions of finding out you're running out on the pitch. What are they going to be like on Sunday when you're actually finally back out there?
Honestly, I don't even like, I cannot wait. Like, I obviously having moments of like, I'm imagining what it would be like, but I don't even think I can imagine it. Like, today, I was really not, I've been trying to be like so nonchalant about it because it has been such a long time. But when I saw the team sheet, like, I didn't expect to be so upset. Not like, obviously, happy tears, not upset, but like, to cry so much. So I think Sunday is going to be a really emotional day, but I'm so excited. Like, I've got so much drive just to get back out there. So yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a special day, and I think it'll be emotional for quite a few people. Like Yaz, we've got such a good relationship, and she's like a physio, and she's like, I'm gonna cry, like everyone's gonna cry. So yeah, happy tears though. It'll be a good moment.
And obviously, it's a big few weeks for the club with the double header coming up a week on Sunday. Just kind of how big is that for Sale? Kind of have the first time have the men's and women's double header at Salford Community Stadium.
Is massive. Like we saw how successful the when we played Ealing there last year, like that was a really successful event for us, like a big moment for the club. And I think to be able to like complement that with the men's game as well, it's gonna be so good. And like it's the numbers are already doing really well with ticket sales and stuff. And I think we can really like reinforce how important it is to support both like games, the men and the women's. And how even though it's both rugby, they're both very different games, so you get the best of both worlds in terms of you can appreciate the skill set from both sides, if that makes sense. So for the club, it's massive. Like it's a really good opportunity to grow and to get a bit more attention on rugby in the north, because obviously we've struggled with that for the past few years, well, forever really. But if we can still like collaborate and like everything's better together, so that collaboration is really important.
And obviously, don't want to look too far ahead with you just coming back on Sunday, but just kind of what looks like a successful year for you. Kind of what's in the future, in say end of the season. What's a successful season for you?
I think for me personally, is to get back into like regular playing, regular game time, and really find that confidence in my foot again. And like, although I do feel pretty confident in it now, it's getting to the point where I can really back myself in any aspect of the game and like put as many meters as I want through it. So it's to get to that point, play regularly within the Sharks setup, hopefully, and then like I missed out on the opportunity with England in the 20s because of injury. So that was a really difficult time in terms of like I was so close. Yeah, it was just never like something was always wrong, and that was my foot that we finally found out. So yeah, that was hard to look back on. I've struggled with that a little bit, that I missed out. So it's to really push that opportunity internationally, maybe over the next few years, maybe not the next coming year, but I really want to see how far I can build myself back up. I think like the sky's the limit at this point. So yeah.
So Eva, thank you so much for chatting to us today. Really interesting to kind of hear your story, and best of luck for the weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
So Alivia, just first of all, just how are you enjoying life with Trailfinders?
It's been really good so far. It's obviously a big jump from, just like being in the States, but so far it's been really good. The rugby's been great. Just like living in a new city has been really cool. It's just been a really positive experience so far.
And also, just how's your lip? Obviously, you went off in the Leicester game, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It's healing really well. It was like 20 plus stitches. I was a little nervous that like it was gonna look really funky, but it honestly isn't looking too bad. So
That's good.
yeah.
And kind of what brought you over to the PWR, and just kind of what brought you to Trailfinders?
Well, I think I have kind of an interesting story. I was in university in the States, and then my school shut down. And I was like kind of like looking to go to another school, and I was planning on going where all of my teammates from the school I was at previously, I was looking to go where they were going. And then Sione, the USA coach, was like, "Hey, like, how do you feel about playing overseas?" And I was like, "Well, I don't really know if I want to live in England, to be fair." But he put me in contact with Giselle when she was still here, and it kind of just seemed like the perfect opportunity that I couldn't pass up on. And yeah, I signed, and it's been really great so far.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of how important do you see the PWR kind of being for your development? Obviously, there's so many American players over here now. You've kind of excelled since being over here. So just how important do you see the league being in your development going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think speaking for myself, the development has been like incredible so far. Just like the pace of the game is a lot more similar to what it is on the international level. Back in the States, they're trying to make like competition more like similar, but it's been hard. Whereas here, like you're playing with the best of the best and even practicing with the best of the best. So I think, you're going to develop and yeah.
And kind of what differences you found kind of so far, just kind of playing over here compared to the standard you were playing over in the US?
I'd say like the team I was on in university, we just kind of struggled with numbers, and so like we wouldn't even have like a full like 15 sometimes even at practice, so it's like we would be trying to learn these new skills or do these new like plays, and it would just be hard because we wouldn't have enough people. And just like the pace of the game is just so different, like ruck speed is like it's a lot slower. So yeah, and like I mean personally for me, I feel like I relied a lot on my athleticism versus like having to like feel like I needed to have like the IQ or all like the technical pieces. So I think being here, I've really been focusing on learning technical pieces and bringing that up to speed.
And just kind of touch on what you mentioned before about your school shutting, just kind of how tough was that, and kind of how did that come about? That must quite a bizarre thing for a school to shut down while you're there.
Yeah, so it was kind of like rumored for like a month or two before it happened. And then we had like, I guess a spring break, I think is what it was. And then they had told us like the day that we went home for spring break. And so we kind of like had an idea that it was possibly happening, but it wasn't like confirmed or anything until March of the semester, which gave us like a month and a half to kind of figure out what we were going to do for the following fall.
Yeah, it must be quite tough for you. Kind of obviously it was around March will be around prep for Pack 4 and stuff like that. Just as an international player, just how kind of tough was that to figure out what you're going to do education wise, but also preparing to be an international rugby player?
Yeah, personally, like where I'm at now is like I can kind of always go back and finish my education, and just like I can do it online. Whereas like rugby is not always forever, especially being young. I think these are like it's a really critical part of my time in my life, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to come overseas because I'm not always going to be able to have that opportunity. But I'm definitely looking into finishing my education, probably within like either this upcoming spring semester or the fall semester.
Obviously, you mentioned Sione was kind of the driving force for getting you over here. Just how important has he been as US coach for you and kind of your development as a kind of a younger player within that squad?
Yeah, no, he has been like really great with my development. I feel like he's been like quite invested. Obviously, I feel like he helped me get here. He put me in contact with Giselle, and then also like he's been checking in on me like here and there, just like seeing how I'm settling in, how the rugby's been going, the games, the training, and everything, which has been like really nice.
And obviously, you've got Kate Zachary at Trailfinders. Just how key has she been to kind of making sure you feel at home and kind of feel welcome within the Trailfinders setup and in the league?
Yeah, no, she's been great. She helps me out with a lot of stuff. When I first moved in, actually, I was in this house by myself that I'm staying in. And I mean, it's not the same as in America, so I didn't really know how to work like the radiators, the washing machine, and drying machine. So she came over and helped me like just know how to work everything. And yeah, she's been a great person, and she's just great to like talk to about anything. And yeah, she invites me over sometimes, and we'll hang out and do some stuff. So it's good.
Just how good is it to still have her on your team? Obviously, one of the legends of the US game and kind of such a big figure within the PWR as well.
Yeah, it's great. Not only like is she like so amazing on the field, but she's also just like great off the field too. It's just like, someone to look up to. Just with like how passionate she is about rugby, and not only playing it but also growing it in the community as well. I think it's just like really cool to kind of just be around that. So.
And obviously, plenty of your US teammates kind of within the PWR. Just first of all, just how important is it for the US rugby kind of heading into a World Cup to have regular game time for these players?
Yeah, it's so important, you know, just like to continue to keep getting high quality minutes, you know, keeping up with our skills and our fitness and all that. Like to be in a more like full-time environment is so crucial to be able to, you know, grow individually, which will hopefully help us to be better as a team.
And just kind of how excited are you heading into a World Cup year to kind of potentially be playing in it, a massive World Cup for the game, kind of so many tickets sold over here in the UK. Just how exciting is that?
Yeah, it's so exciting. You know, I think like a lot of the girls, including myself on the US, like we're just excited because we are feeling like we can compete with any of these teams in the World Cup. So I think that's like an incredibly exciting mentality to be going into the World Cup with. And yeah, having more girls over here, like preparing for the World Cup, I think is going to be really exciting.
Obviously, like I mentioned, plenty with your teammates here. Just how excited are you to kind of be coming up against them and playing against them instead of playing with them?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes intimidating to be playing against them because like, you know, they're my friends, but at the end of the day, rugby is rugby, and you're going to have to go up against your friends, and just being able to like be friends off the field and then kind of like come in and play against them is also like, you know, it's fun. So
yeah, we were just speaking to Alev from Loughborough just before. Just she has kind of that background with a lot of different sports. Do you have kind of any backgrounds from other sports, or kind of purely rugby?
I played soccer growing up, well, football as you guys call it, but yeah, I played that for quite a while. I think like 10 years maybe. And then I swam in high school for like 4 years. Nothing that like I ever took like super, super serious until I started playing rugby. And then I was like, oh, this is actually like a lot of fun, and I'm fairly decent at it. So yeah.
So when did you start rugby? Was that high school? Or was that university?
Yeah, it was in high school. I was about 15, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and
yeah.
You mentioned the kind of 10 years of soccer, football. Just how you kind of see those skills kind of coming into rugby. So obviously, front row is a little bit different from where it might help a 10, but do you kind of see that helping you at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I think like just like a little bit like the physicality. I was a goalie, so I think that I had to be like a little bit on the physical side as a goalie. And then also, I mean, back in like my high school days and early college days, I did kick a little bit. Not anymore, but I think that also helped with like being able to kick like that transferred over quite easily. But yeah.
Do you not fancy taking the goal kicking off Emma Taylor at all then?
No, she's got it. She's got it.
And just finally, for me, just kind of what does a successful season look like for yourself personally going forward?
I'd say a successful season is just like being able to reflect and notice that like I have developed as a player and have been growing in these different skill sets. I think that would define a successful season for me.
Perfect. So thank you so much for taking time and chat to us today, and best of luck for Bristol at the weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much.